Right, the prints are out of the printer, ready to go. These are the registration marks and the crop marks. I'm in the process of making 2 books on this occasion. So yeah, just line up the ruler, get my Sharpie. Make sure you got a fresh blade when you're doing this for each project. You've got to have fresh blades. With a fresh blade, you just make 1 pass. When I am cutting tape, as I put the pages together, I sometimes make 1 or possibly 2 or even 3 passes, depending on how many layers of tape. You know, so you don't want to lean too hard because you want to get a nice clean cut, but you definitely need a clean blade. So you work your way through all of the prints for the project, and here these are the images for the front cover and the back cover of the book. So trim those, get them ready. Photograph goes on the front and the logo goes on the back cover. There's no glue used in this project, it's just tape. I use pH neutral masking tape and pH neutral double-sided tape. Keeps everything nice and light and fast. And lightweight. I don't use heavy card when I'm making these little books because it makes them it makes them inexpensive to ship, but they're still quite robust. Okay, so just trimming those images for the front and back cover, and then I'll get my double-sided tape here and put the tape right up into the corner, like so. I just get a bit of tape into each corner. You get the idea. Same again for the back cover. When those are ready, I just put them in the little box to the left there, and we'll come back to those later on when I prepare the card for the cover. Okay, here's the caption sheet, handwritten. I always do that. I handwrite them, scan them, and then just run the prints off. Same thing again with the same center registration and crop marks to guide through, although we don't need the center registration marks in this case because we're using the full sheet. To fold it over. I fold it lengthways and then fold it halfways. That should align perfectly with the print at the back of the book. There's quite a lot of folding involved here. So you see I have a bone folder there, but you can use all kinds of things. Your fingers will probably work just as well, but I like to get a good crisp fold, so I tend to use bone folder. You could use a child's plastic spoon, you know, an old credit card, all kinds of things. But a bone folder or a burnisher, I think some people call them, that's the best way to go. And so what I'm doing here now is just organizing the prints in 2 piles for each of the books that I'm making. I don't have to show the whole process, but you get the idea. So when the prints are in order, then you can work fast. It's already organized for you. So here I'm just cutting, ripping off strips of masking tape, which I will use to join the pages together. You can see I've got 2 bits of masking tape at the edge of the cutting board, just as a rough measurement. as an indicator that speeds up the process. Okay, and then I tend to slice them in half. And so those strips then I will put on the desk, on the edge of the desk. I'll line them up. I'll show you in just a second. So it's just easy to pop them off as you need them. Here you go. So I just stick them on the side of the desk like that. Get a good few ready. So these are matte prints. The matte prints are good because the ink doesn't crack when you fold them over, so you can get a double page spread. So I've developed my techniques quite a lot since the first book I made using these handmade book, and that was Southeast, which eventually became Hinterland. I think I am going to make Hinterland again with these new improved techniques here, because initially what I did was I split the picture in half and then retaped them together. Well, with this paper you don't need to do that. You can just fold them and the ink doesn't get damaged. It holds true. So you see what I did there. I just joined the pages together, fold them over like so, and so you build up a concertina-like book. You gotta be very careful then when you slice the excess tape off the edge, line them up like so, flip them over, and then burnish the back. Good solid pressure. Same again, fold over into the middle. So you have to be careful when you're doing this and be quite accurate, because at the end, depending on how many prints you have, you want them all to be quite squared off. You don't want the prints, you don't want the spine to be all over the place. As some of my books in the past have been, but I've gotten better at this. It can be tricky finding pH neutral tapes, but the thing is, more and more masking tapes and double-sided tapes these days are solvent free, and it's the solvent in the tapes that over time does damage to the photographs. You know, the kind of yellowing effect as the chemicals leak through. But that's less the case these days. I don't know, solvent is not used so much. And so you work your way through the whole book, build it up. I'm not going to show every single page, but these are the last few pages. That's the last page of Passerby 8, last image rather, and so now we will just attach the caption sheet, which when folded in half is actually the same height as the print. So yeah, pop it over, burnish that down good and solid, fold it all back together again. Okay, and so here then what I do is I just cut tiny little bits of double-sided tape and then put them on the back of each page so that I can seal them all together to get a fixed spine. And so on and so on. You work your way from front to back. So I put the bits of tape down first, and when I've got them all done, then I go back to the start and I peel the backing off. And that's when I start to seal it all up. don't know why I'm showing so much here. Just anyway, am I going through the whole thing? I think I am. That's a bit tedious. There we go. Jump to the end. All right, so peel the paper tape off, the backing off, and then what I tend to do then is I very carefully balance the book flush against the surface so that all the pages line up properly when I bring them together. Yeah, so spine, align the spine up flat on the table surface, as you can see. And assuming that your trimming with the blade is accurate, they should line up nicely for a good crisp spine, crisp edges on the spine. Okay, so here's the heavy card for, not the heavy card, but the card for the cover. It's relatively lightweight, and I'm just using another tool here with a sharp point on it to mark, just to indicate where the cutting marks and the folding marks are. Okay, so we're doing 5 1/4, I think, for the height of the book. Each page of the book is 5 inches, so I'm going 5 1/4 just to allow a little overhang with the cover. Okay, trim off the edges, and then just line up the ruler and use the burnisher then to mark the folds for the front and back. There you go, just reinforce on both sides, you see. And what I tend to do is put a bit of tape on the inside over the folds just to reinforce it, make it stronger so that it lasts. And then again, reburnish. Right, now, this is where we peel off the tape on the images for the front and back cover and place them on the card. Nearly there. Okay, and then line that up. Pop it down, flip it over, burnish the tape down solidly. And the back cover. Now what I didn't include here was the title of the book that I put on the spine. Anyway, you'll see the process because I used the same process to put the title of the book on the actual front cover. So I used 3 layers of masking tape because it lifts off the page nicely. And then handwrite the title of the book, Passerby number 8. Okay, and then trim it. Yeah, just lift off the excess. So I leave lots of room to the right of the number 8 because that allows me room to maneuver when applying it to the cover, and then burnish it down, flip it over, burnish it down, and then trim. And I'll make 3 or 4 slices here just to get a clean cut. Okay, and now some double-sided tape on the actual book itself to apply to the cover. You'll see on the left-hand side there, I leave about 4 or 5 millimeters in from the edge. That's just so that the cover allows enough room for the pages to move around as you work your way through the book. If you put the tape right up to the edge, then it would be too snug. It would get very tight, and it would just be awkward to maneuver your way through the book. So you always leave a bit of room there. That's fairly standard. I mean, that's fairly standard in any book, particularly double page spread books where you've got as flat a spine as possible. You know, not a deep gutter like you can sometimes get with perfect bound books. Okay, and then we're just going to position the book in. You always do the back cover first, so the caption sheet then is applied to the cover. Okay, and then very carefully you do the same with the front. When you do this for the first time, it's a bit tedious, but you get used to it and you get quite fast at it. And just to let you know that Passerby number 9 is already edited, and I just haven't constructed it yet or made the prints because there is the possibility I'll add another couple of images, but that'll be a few weeks away yet. I'm going to launch a new print shop using PrintSpace, and I'm going to move the books over there from Big Cartel over to Shopify, and selected prints will be available with each issue of Passerby. So that's a new thing that I'm quite excited about. So I've been working on this for quite a while. I will make some announcements on that in due course. So there'll be 4, maybe 5, possibly 6, depending, images selected as prints from each Passerby book as I make them, and they will be available only while each say so number 9 will come out and there will be prints available, and they will only be available until number 10 is done, so it'll be time limited. I'm not going to do limited edition prints. That I just don't buy into that whole construct. And anyway, for this particular project, I think time limited makes sense because they coincide with each issue. And that's pretty much it. So I wrap a little band around it just to keep it in place. Thanks for your time.